Rain pattered softly against the glass walls of Haven Market, the largest supply center in the Terranallery district of New Seoul. Neon reflections shimmered across the floor, blending human and alien advertisements into a mosaic of shared existence. Eli Rourke, the store's night cashier, scanned items with mechanical precision, his muscles aching from the double shift. It wasn't glamorous work, but it kept him grounded, something he desperately needed after leaving the Frontier Wars behind. The hum of the scanners and the murmur of late-night shoppers had become his peace. A soft chime rang, the doors sliding open. Eli glanced up. A woman stepped in, her skin the color of cool cobalt, her hair pale silver that caught the neon light like spun glass. She held the hand of a small girl, perhaps 6 years old, who looked around with wide, curious eyes. Their clothes were clean but worn, second-hand fabric patched with care. An Allery, he noted, one of the refugee families from the shattered moon colonies. They moved slowly down the aisles, the mother consulting a small list on a cracked holoslate. The child trailed close behind, pointing shyly at food packages she clearly didn't recognize. Eli had seen hundreds of families like them, displaced after the Alliance collapse. But something about this pair tugged at him. The woman's shoulders were straight, proud even in poverty. The child never let go of her mother's hand. After a while, they came to his counter. "Good evening," Eli said, his voice warm. "Find everything you needed?" The woman hesitated before speaking. Her voice carried a soft, melodic accent, Allery vowels shaping Terran words carefully. "Yes, sir. Just these." She placed a few items on the counter: bread, milk substitute, a small pack of greens, a jar of nut protein paste, and a tiny packet of sweets shaped like stars. Eli smiled at the last item. "For her." The little girl looked up shyly and nodded. "It's for Mother's Day. I want to make her something sweet." Her mother's eyes softened, but there was a flicker of pain there, a pain Eli recognized too well. He began scanning the items. The total came up, 48.70 credits. The woman's fingers fumbled with a small card. I thought it would be less," she murmured, eyes darting to the screen. Eli watched as she checked the balance. The hollow display blinked red, insufficient funds. Her face fell. I'm sorry," she whispered. "Can I return something?" Eli's throat tightened. He'd seen the scene too many times. Proud people forced to barter with hunger. She picked up the jar of nut paste. "We can manage without this." Her daughter's eyes widened. "But Mama, hush," she said gently, placing a hand on the girl's shoulder. "We'll be fine, Celera." Eli swallowed. The jar wasn't expensive, but for someone living off ration credits, every unit mattered. He could have stayed silent. He could have followed policy. But something inside him, something human, wouldn't let him. He slid the jar back into the bag. "Don't worry about it." The woman blinked. "I said to remove it." He smiled faintly. "Store policy. Once scanned, it stays." "That cannot be true," she said softly. "Please, I cannot pay." Eli met her eyes. They were luminous silver, full of quiet dignity and exhaustion. "Ma'am," he said gently, lowering his voice, "I got it covered." Her breath caught. "No, please," he said, almost pleading. "Let me do this. You don't owe me anything." For a long moment, she said nothing. The little girl's gaze flicked between them, confusion and hope mingling. Finally, the mother placed her hand over her chest, the Allery gesture of deep respect. "You shame me, Terran." "No," Eli replied. "You honor me." He paid the difference quietly, then handed the bag to the girl. "Here, you take this home, young lady. And don't forget to make something sweet for your mom." Celera grinned, her small fangs glinting. "I will. Thank you, Mr. Human." They left with soft gratitude and a quiet nod, the kind of thank you that spoke louder than words. Hours passed. The market emptied, and Eli finished his shift. Yet the image of the woman's trembling hands and the child's bright smile wouldn't leave him. On his way out, he passed the refugee district, a maze of temporary shelters under flickering neon signs. Rain glistened on the walkways. He spotted the same pair outside a dimly lit module, the child trying to start a small thermal coil while her mother fixed a broken door seal. Eli hesitated, then approached. The woman straightened, cautious. "You followed us?" "I was just heading home," he lied. "Saw your coil struggling. Mind if I help?" She studied him, then stepped aside. "If you wish." He knelt and adjusted the power leads, his hands steady from years of field repairs. Within seconds, the coil glowed warm orange. Celera clapped softly. "You fixed it." Her mother's expression softened. "You are skilled. Were you an engineer?" "Soldier," Eli said quietly. "Frontier wars. Learned to fix what broke." Her gaze flickered. "I have heard of your wars. Humans fight fiercely." He smiled faintly. "We fight hardest for others." There was silence, filled only by the hum of the coil. After a moment, the woman spoke again. "Why did you help us?" Eli looked up at her, at the faint lines of fatigue and the quiet strength behind her voice. "Because once someone helped me when I couldn't pay. I swore I'd pass it on." She seemed to weigh his words. "Among my people," she said, "debt of kindness is sacred. I cannot repay you in coin, but perhaps in friendship." Eli nodded. "I'd like that." Weeks passed. Every few days they crossed paths, sometimes in the market, sometimes near the shelter. He learned her name, Liara. Once a medic before the war, took her home. He helped her find stable work repairing filtration units. In return, she taught him Allery healing techniques, small gestures that soothed his old injuries. Celera grew bolder, greeting him every visit with stories and laughter. Soon, Eli realized his evenings didn't feel complete without seeing them. One night, as curfew sirens wailed across the district, Liara invited him inside. The air smelled faintly of herbs and warmth. Celera slept nearby, curled under a thin blanket. Liara poured him a cup of steeped root tea. "You have done much for us," she said quietly. "Why continue?" Eli shrugged. "You remind me what humanity's supposed to mean." She tilted her head. "And what is that?" He met her gaze. "Caring when no one else does." She smiled faintly, a small, fragile thing. "Then you are more Allery than you know." Their eyes held for a moment too long. Then she whispered, "When you covered our food that night, I thought you pitted us. Now I see, it was something else." "It was hope," he said softly. "Maybe the universe hasn't gone cold yet." Months later, Haven Market celebrated the first Human Allery Unity Day. Liara now wore a proper uniform, her posture proud. She had a new ID badge, Technician, Water Purification Division. Celera danced around the stalls with human children, her laughter ringing like bells. Eli stood by his counter, watching them from afar. Liara approached, holding out a wrapped parcel. "A gift," she said. He opened it. Inside was a small pendant shaped like two intertwined stars, one silver, one bronze. "For kindness given freely," she said. Eli felt his throat tighten. "You didn't have to." "I did," she said simply. "Kindness is what binds our worlds now. You reminded me of that." Celera ran up and tugged his sleeve. "Mama says you are our family now. Does that mean we can make you soup?" Eli laughed. "I'd be honored." They stood there together, a soldier, a mother, and her child, three souls from different worlds, united by a single act of compassion. In a galaxy fractured by war, sometimes humanity wasn't about strength or victory. Sometimes it was as simple as refusing to let someone go hungry.